Hello televiewers and welcome to the very first edition of The Brief for the Week, live on My Media Prime Television, a program where we get to dig several layers beneath the major headlines that are being carried or relayed in the newspapers in the country. On today's edition of the program, we are focusing on the recent neutralization of Amba generals in the northwest region of the country and the path to peace, not leaving out the hosting rights for the AFCON 2021 that has been sealed in Yaoundé. Those are some of the major headlines that the newspaper carried today, and we shall be having as guest Dr. Nicolas Santos live from America, who will be talking about his peace movement, or the movement he is championing for peace to return to the two English-speaking regions of the country. Bomotonguina, Gwladys is here with the headlines in the French language. Bonjour Gwladys et bon début de la semaine.
Merci, mais à toi. Bonjour à vous qui nous regardez. Bon début de la semaine pour vous sur ce matin de débrief ce matin. Alors nous débutons avec le messager qui parle de la région du Sud intitulé l'impossible décollage de cette partie du pays en faisant référence au pillage des ressources forestières avec la complicité des élites compradors et le fait que 38 ans après la région d'origine du chef de l'État, son excellence Paul Biya, reste toujours un chantier. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. Nous continuons ce matin avec Info Matin qui parle du forum Turquie-Afrique. Le ministre du Commerce, Luc Margloire Tangana, a présenté les différentes opportunités d'investissement dans les domaines de l'agriculture et de la pêche. Les détails sont donc en page 4 de ce journal. Nous poursuivons avec Essingan qui revient ce matin sur la visite des infrastructures de la CAN menée par le ministre d'État, secrétaire général à la présidence de la République, Ferdinand Ngongo. Une visite effectuée en semaine dernière dans la ville de Boya, région du sud-ouest Cameroun. Les détails sont donc en page 2 de ce journal. Nous clôturons ce matin avec le journal Émergence qui parle de la prison centrale de Yaoundé pour demander ce qu'il en est advenu des prisonniers anglophones portés disparus. En effet, ils auraient été extraits de la prison pour une destination inconnue. Leurs conseillers donnent des nouvelles à leur sujet. Les détails sont donc en page 5 de cet article. Et c'est sur ce journal Émergence que nous mettons un stop à cette revue de presse en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces urnes en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Bomotonguina. Gwladys, let's kickstart with Cameroon Insider, the bi-weekly publication. Is interested in the hosting rights of AFCON that has been sealed in Yaoundé. The paper writes that AFCON 2021 Cameroon's hosting rights now a done deal. The framework agreement that guarantees Cameroon's hosting right was signed last Friday in Yaoundé by the first Vice President of CAF, Augustin Senghor, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Moele Kombi, and the Interim President of the Cameroon Football Federation, Seydou Mbombo Njoya. The signing of the document puts an end to the lingering speculations over whether Cameroon was going to host the football or the continental football jamboree or not. And as we are told, so the rights has been sealed, and Cameroon is the official host of the AFCON 2021, which will take place in January 2022 in Cameroon. And let's talk about the killings in Boya. Paul Biya consoles family of slain school girl. The Minister of State, Secretary General, the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Ngongo, on Thursday in Boya extended a condolence message from the presidential couple to the family of the 5-year-old child that was shot to death on her way to school on October 14 by a gendarmerie officer. On to the Post newspaper, which is worried about the move the government is taking when it comes to the realization of the construction of the Bamenda-Babaju stretch of road. And the paper this morning is questioning awarding Babaju-Bamenda road project to civilian contractors. Is it not another move or the government is making, or another error the government is making after Sogian Satom's inability to construct the said route as a result of insecurity. The paper is requesting or urging the government, why not involve the military engineering corps for the job, like in Boko Haram affected areas in the country. More details on the page 12 of this edition of the Post newspaper. The Post newspaper is also interested in these other issues about gendarmerie officers that tricked Anglophone detainees into kidnapping them to underground prison, according to the paper. The Anglophone detainees who were tricked to leave the Kondigi maximum security prison for the military tribunal, only to discover that they were being taken to the State Secretariat for Defense in Yaoundé. Let's leave the Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is focusing on the killing or the jubilant population of Ngokitunja division in the northwest region of the country. Population jubilates as a dreaded Amba general killed in Market Square. General Trouble is said to have been on a revenue collection mission when he was captured and killed by soldiers. And the search for General No Pity, who is also a dreaded general operating in Ngokitunja and Boyo divisions, underway, and the search has led to the death or the neutralization of over 20 Amba fighters in Boyo division of the northwest region of Cameroon. We are back in the studio, televiewers, and we are moving straight to US to meet our guest, Dr. Nicolas Santos, who is a former separatist and is now championing a peace movement for a return to normalcy in the two English-speaking regions of the country. Good morning, Doctor, and happy to have you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning from the United States of America. I know it's like also morning over there, but we are in the early hours of about 4 a.m. Mr. Lasha, I know that I'm a frequent and the audience know me, Dr. Nicolas Santos. I'm a clinical psychologist with the U.S. government, and I've been trying to see how we can, I and my colleagues, some of which are previous frontline leaders of the revolution, are trying to craft out peace movement, which we began it since 2 years ago, the Peace Task Force.
So
now we also have peace patriots.
So my question to you, with the continuous killings ongoing in the two English-speaking regions, we said never. Garbu, when Garbu happened, we said never. The Kumba happened, we say never. And Kumba, yesterday was the first anniversary of those children that were killed. And we had Boya again recently. And the question many are asking, who is apt to champion a peace movement for a return to normalcy in the two English-speaking regions? Because apparently, whenever somebody shows his ugly head to talk about peace, the person either receives backlash from the separatists or the government camp. So who is apt, and how should these people go about the peace, return to normalcy in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon?
Mr. Lasha, frankly, I cannot hear you well. Maybe because the lines are not clear. But I will tell you that, it takes someone, from what I can gather, from what you have just said about return to normalcy, I think it takes some of us who had been at the front line of the struggle to give the necessary advice on how to go about this peace. Because let me tell you, there's a deadlock between the government and those they have stigmatized as the separatists. And for us to have peace, we have to, there's no two-way and a dialogue. And that dialogue should possibly be in a neutral venue because of security reasons for those who are the stakeholders in the diaspora.
Who is apt to initiate such dialogue? Who is apt? Because apparently everybody is not qualified from what we receive from both camps, be it government or the separatists.
I cannot hear you well. I cannot hear you well, Mr. Lasha. I cannot hear you well.
Right on, doctor.
The issue is that for anything called peace to take place, you have to know that it has to be that the both stakeholders who are at a deadlock at this time find a middle ground to resolve this issue. And that is what some of our peace initiatives are trying to do, like come up with proposals where the both parties can find a middle ground to resolve the issue.
De Kumba et jusqu'à aujourd'hui rien n'a été fait, aucune solution, rien du tout. On continue toujours à revoir les mêmes choses et on se pose la question de savoir est-ce que ça va continuer ainsi ou quelles sont les prochaines victimes ou est-ce qu'il y en aura encore des victimes?
Right on. Yes, doctor, my colleague was asking that yesterday, Kumba massacre, that was the first anniversary of Kumba massacre, and apparently nothing has been done. So who will be the next victim? Oh, the lines are really troublesome this morning, Bomotonguina, Gwladys. Hopefully we'll get back to doctor to talk about the first anniversary of Kumba massacre, which was yesterday, that fateful day that armed men stormed that secondary school, shooting to death several students and wounding so many others, Gwladys. And we said never, and later on, we had Boya again, where a 5-year-old child was equally shot to death by, this time around, by the gendarmerie officer. Apparently the killings continues and nobody is doing anything to stop the killing.
Rien n'a été dit. Et ça m'amène effectivement à poser la question ce matin de savoir où sont les droits des hommes, en fait. Où sont les droits des hommes? Est-ce que ces populations-là n'ont pas droit, n'ont pas de droit? Est-ce que ces populations-là méritent ce qui leur arrive parce qu'ils sont entre le marteau et l'enclume? Il faut rappeler que le problème de Kumba Massacre, jusqu'ici, on a juste dit des hommes armés, mais c'est toujours un conflit entre est-ce que ce sont les séparatistes, est-ce que ce sont les militaires qui avaient fait, est-ce que
No, but
ça
we
reste
already have
toujours entre
suspects,
guillemets.
and some of the suspects have been sentenced to death.
Ça reste toujours entre guillemets, Mr. Lasha. Et jusqu'ici, au jour d'aujourd'hui, rien n'est toujours fait. Absolument rien. Et on continue à observer les mêmes problèmes, les mêmes causes qui vont toujours produire les mêmes résultats. Et je veux toujours poser cette question de savoir, est-ce qu'au jour d'aujourd'hui au Cameroun, on ne peut pas se retrouver sur une véritable table de dialogue et résoudre ce problème définitivement?
Before the lines went bad, I was asking Dr. Nicolas Santos, who is our guest live from the US, who are those who are apt, those who have the moral obligation, because like you rightly say, apparently everybody is a bad person. Each time somebody raises his ugly head to talk about peace, return to normalcy in the northwest and southwest, that person is either working for the government or working for the separatists. So how shall we come out of this stalemate?
Il y a un groupe de personnes qui sont totalement neutres. Ce sont les religieux. Et bizarrement, ces religieux-là ont beaucoup de familles qui viennent dans leurs églises. Je parle des prêtres et des pasteurs. Je pense que ces personnes-là sont mieux placées pour résoudre ce problème-là. Il faudrait qu'on leur donne... C'est justement ce que je dis, qu'il faudrait qu'on leur donne cette opportunité-là. Parce qu'au jour d'aujourd'hui, il n'y a que qui peuvent véritablement résoudre ce problème si le gouvernement camerounais ne résout pas le problème en question.
Doctor, are you there? Can you hear us now? Apparently the line is really bad. Can you hear us now, doctor? Oh, not really. Yes, like you were rightly saying, the religious leaders,
Yeah.
they are the ones who are apt
Ils
to
sont
initiate
mieux
the
placés
dialogue.
parce que
But
beaucoup de familles viennent
many
là-bas.
of them many of them have been, you know, they have come under heavy criticism. We saw recently when the church was attacked in Bali, where the moderator of the PCC, he came under serious attacks from the separatists.
Vous savez, Mr. Lasha, ce n'est pas quelque chose qui doit se faire avec une seule personne ou un seul religieux. C'est une histoire de groupe. C'est-à-dire, on doit permettre, donner l'opportunité à ces religieux-là de se réunir et de trouver un moyen pour résoudre le problème. Parce que les familles de ces gars qui sont dans les brousses viennent dans ces églises-là. Ils sont fidèles dans ces églises. Et le prêtre ou le pasteur qui est berger là-bas est capable de mieux parler à ces familles-là pour convaincre leurs enfants de déposer les armes. Je pense que c'est la meilleure solution possible qu'on peut avoir aujourd'hui.
The men of God, they have not been trying their best.
On leur a pas permis de travailler ensemble. C'est-à-dire, on n'a pas dit, OK, on vous donne la lassitude de le faire. Faites-le, apportez-nous une solution. Si on leur donne l'opportunité de le faire, je crois que quelque chose de bon va sortir de là.
Okay, something good will come out of that. And let's talk about the hosting rights of AFCON that has finally been sealed in Yaoundé. That was recently by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcis Moele Kombi, and the interim president of FECAFU, Sedi Bomotonguina, and equally the representative of the Confederation of African Football. So it is now official. Yeah. Cameroon will host the AFCON 2021 in the country, and this puts to rest question of whether another glissement, like people put it, Gwladys. So is it a victory for Cameroon? And many Cameroonians are still saying that no, enough still needs to be done, especially the road networks.
C'est vrai que beaucoup doit être encore fait, beaucoup particulièrement les routes, c'est vrai, parce que il faut l'accessibilité pour ces personnes-là qui vont venir de l'étranger, pour qu'elles puissent circuler en toute sécurité, en toute sérénité dans nos villes. Mais je vais dire une chose, c'est que au jour d'aujourd'hui, je crois que les Camerounais doivent être en joie parce que déjà, il y a une année où cette CAN nous a été retirée. Alors, si cette fois-ci, on nous a donné, que le contrat a été signé, qu'effectivement, c'est le Cameroun qui va organiser cette CAN, je pense que les Camerounais devraient plutôt se réjouir au jour d'aujourd'hui au lieu de critiquer. C'est vrai qu'on aime bien critiquer, mais il ne faut pas critiquer juste pour critiquer.
When you look at the infrastructures that were brandished to us, shortly after the one-week tour or fact-finding mission of the Secretary General of the Presidency, or Minister of State Secretary General of the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, are you impressed? Are you happy with what you saw from the images that came from Boya, you know, Bafoussam, Douala, Garoua, and lastly Yaoundé? Are you impressed?
Moi, je suis carrément impressionnée par ce que j'ai vu et ça m'a beaucoup plu. J'ai compris qu'en fait, aussi, nos administrateurs, ils font quand même quelque chose. Il ne faudrait pas que tous les jours, ils font quand même quelque chose. Et lorsqu'ils font, il faudrait aussi apprécier. C'est la moindre des choses. Donc, au jour d'aujourd'hui, moi, j'ai apprécié déjà le fait qu'ils aient décidé de se déplacer. Et précisément, le ministre, le secrétaire d'État, qui a pris la peine lui-même d'aller à Boya et consorts. C'était pour moi une belle initiative et je ne peux que dire bravo.
OK. We are gradually coming to the end of the program, and unfortunately the lines were not the best for us to really have Dr. Nicolas Santos, who is a peace crusader, and he is live from the United States of America. I don't know if you can hear us. Your last words, Doctor. Doctor, are you there? Can you hear us? Oof. That's it, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. We've come to the end of today's edition of The Brief, which was produced for us by Christain Tebong, and for presentation, we've been Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha Kingsley. Hopefully, we'll be with you tomorrow for yet another edition of What the Papers Must Have Said. Bye-bye. Have a great week ahead.